Hi, Miss Maddie. How you doing? Oh, is that right? Goodness me. Goodness me. Tell me all about it, my love. Hello. Hello, my darling. How you doing? It's all right. Goodness me. Okay. So, I did put up that we were going to do, I was going to work on my wolf, but my shoulder's really bad. I do have to be careful. For those who don't know, about 5 years ago now, I fell, and I fell really hard on this arm, and it pushed my shoulder up. And I put up with the pain for several weeks, and then I eventually went to the doctor and said, this is not right, and she sent me off to a physiotherapist. And the physiotherapist said, I want you to put your arm out to the side, and I want you to turn it so that the back of your hand is as far to the floor as you can possibly go. And I managed to turn it about 2 centimetres, and he said, no, you can do it more than that. I said, no, I can't, it bloody hurts. He said, no, do it. Okay. And there was a crunch that was so loud that the woman across the hall looked up from what she was doing. And apparently I had trapped something up here in my rotator cuff. I don't know what, I don't know how. He thought it might have been partially dislocated as well. But ever since I've had problems with it, especially in the winter. It's not so bad in the summer, but once it gets cold or damp, I'm dreading when I start getting rheumatics in it. That's going to be a real problem. But as you can see, my shoulders, they don't sit level. Look how badly this shoulder is down. Because if I hold it there, it hurts like hell. I think I need to do some of this to get the muscle going again. Maybe the muscle is relaxed too much. I don't know, but yeah, I've got to be careful of it. I can't afford to have days off because I can't work on it. So anyway, long story short, oops, too late. Because of that, I've decided to do something I can do left-handed today, which is my stitching, because I can sew left-handed. So that's what I'm going to do today. And then because I do want to work on my wolf, and I want to get him finished, and I want to do bits, but I've got to do bits when I can do it. So I'm wondering if it might be better to, instead of doing things like this in little bits, which I can do for the 2 hours easily, is do that in little bits. I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm thinking maybe it would be better if I could just, you know, put him. Oh, that's got a bit bent. If I could just, you know, spend some time. I want to do the wolf head, which obviously is going to have to be a piece of filling. That's not a good thing. It's going to have to be matte mediumed on, which is quite a job because you have to do it all in one go. So that's like 30 minutes of sitting like that. So maybe I'll do that, and then I'll come back after a bit of a break and do something else. I don't know. Anybody else got shoulder issues? Got any recommendations other than take it easy? It really does seem to just be a case of working with it when I can and keeping it warm. It's the main problem I have is I sleep on this side. And because I sleep on this side quite often pops out the covers and gets cold. And once this gets cold, that's it, I'm done. I can't move it the next day. So yeah, if anybody's got any words of wisdom on how to deal with shoulders that are a bit fragile, feel free to email me or something and let me know. Ashley, you said you'd emailed me, but I can't find an email from you. So where did you email me to? Did you send it to RhomanysRealm or to me? Because I can't find it online. Well, it's all Gmail. Try again. Warmth. Yeah, warmth seems to be just the main thing, actually. Especially this part. I find if this muscle here gets cold, or assuming it is muscle, it might be fat, I don't know. Whatever this is, this big blobby thing here, if this gets cold, I can't get it warm again. It's cold now. To put your hand on it, you think, oh, you've been out in the cold all day. And yet down here it's warm and up here it's warm. But this bit, my God, that cold so hurts. Cherry pit cushion under the fleece. What's a cherry pit cushion? I mean, I know what a cherry pit is and I know what a cushion is, but why cherry pit cushion? I don't understand this. Oh, because you can warm it. Oh, I've got a rice one. Right, okay. I've got a rice one that it started off as just like an A5. And what I did was I halved it and I opened it up and I put another piece on it to make it like an A4 sort of size. And I put that over my shoulder I've got like a half t-shirt that's literally just one sleeve, the neck, and a bit here of a t-shirt, and I just put that on and it holds the thing in place. You sent it to RhomanysRealm. Okay, that's why I couldn't find it then, because I don't really use that one. That's the admin one. Carolyn uses that one. For future reference, if you want to email me directly with pictures or anything like Ashley has for something specific, email me at romany@gmail.com. Because RhomanysRealm, like I say, that's the admin one. That's for like what's it called? Admin and payments, and you know, if you can't get into a class or something like that, if you need KK, that's her. That's the one she uses. I do check it, but not very often. Oh, you shared some photos. Cool. Is that for the class? Are you sharing a link to an album for the class, or just sharing with me? Save House 2, the PDF attached is for House 1. Oh, bugger. Sorry. Let me... Ning. Dropbox. House 2. Huh. Weird. It's coming up as the same link. Oh well, I'll change it anyway. It's obviously got confused with itself, or perhaps I had the other link and I simply pasted the wrong link. That would not be an unusual thing to do. Just like the doggy with his little ball, his little toy. Because House 2 is about possessions, things you own. Oh, it's about something else. Okay, that's fine. Okay. PDF for House 2. Yeah, I think I'd looked for House 1 PDF to find out where I'd put it, and then I put House 2 PDF up, and I must have forgotten to get the link for House 2, because that's the House 1 one, you're right. So that's that fixed. Hang on 1 second, let me update and see. Done. Right, House 2 guide is now done. It's fine, Mika. I'd rather 15 people in the class told me the same thing, or the same person found the same thing or a problem every single week, than have things not work and then it's 6 months before somebody bothers to tell me, and I'm like, dude, I've slept since then. I don't even remember teaching that class, let alone where the materials are. You know, I'd much rather be told. Never worry about, oh, she's going to think I'm a pain, or, you know. Nobody can be a bigger pain than Andrea, so don't worry about that. Electric blanket. Yeah, I can't have electric blankets because I have 2 dogs. And they don't pee on the bed, but we have a licker and a chewer. So, yeah, that's out for the dogs. Oh, hang on. Yeah, just basically heat. Yeah, okay. I'm doing what I can then. I've also got some, if it gets really bad, which it did the other night, and I had to put some on, I try not to use it very often. If I can, I just take ibuprofen just to reduce the swelling. But I've got some Voltarol, I think it's called. Yeah, Voltarol. But it's the prescription grade one. And you put like a pea-size amount on the entire shoulder, and it penetrates down through the skin, so it's faster acting painkiller. I might try some deep heat actually. I wonder if that would help. You know, that stuff that you put on that's supposed to relieve rheumatoid and things, get the heat down into the muscles. I wonder if that would help. Because topical heat is okay, but then when you take the topical heat away, it gets cold again. And it doesn't matter how hot I am the rest of me, if this shoulder isn't under the covers or isn't covered by something, I'm cold. You have Saturn in your 2nd house, so you have enough problems. I've Saturn in my 5th house, so, you know, all my problems are made up. Oh, that's true, actually. We could chat about the 2nd house, although if you haven't had the PDF, you know, if nobody else has noticed that the PDF was not the right one, I'm guessing most of you haven't done the homework. But we can still chat about the 2nd house while we're sewing, I guess, which would be just as useful, won't it? I'm sweating at the moment, but I refuse to pull it off. Oh, dear. Yeah, I'm too hot to put another layer on, that's the thing. Maybe oh, I know. Hang on. Miss Maddie won't mind if I borrow her blanket. So I don't think Risha's with us today because she's on her way to Japan. So safe travels, Risha. See you when you get back. Oh, I wonder if that'll help. Because it's too hot to put anything on, but that shoulder is really cold. Maybe that's why it's hurt so much. Okay. So let's get set up here. There's no point setting that up until I know where I'm going to sit to sew. Yeah, there we go. Have more mobility and less pain while you're sweating. Yeah, I hate being sweaty though. I don't have the heat on or anything at night because I get so hot. I can't regulate my body temperature at all. Still waiting for your birth certificate. Oh yeah, because you sent it off to get the time or something, didn't you? Massage heating pad. Oh, that sounds good. Hurts like hell when you start to use it. Oh yeah, but it sounds good. Hey Blythe. Right then. So I need to do, oh, I got some, hang on. I meant to pick this up, hang on. Oh, this is going to annoy me if it keeps coming. Oh, I know. Hang on. Oh, I'm full of organisation today, I tell you. Crikey. I need that. And I need, oh there, where did I put it? Oh, in there again. 1 second. Picked it up off there. Came over here. I put it where? That's the question. I don't know. Oh, I've got to stop picking things up from where I find them and going, oh, I'll move that to such and such a place so I remember where it is. Because I always remember where I found it, but I never remember where I've moved it to. Damaged rotator cuff. Yeah, I think that's what I've got. I don't know if it's the rotator cuff or if the tendon gets trapped, if it's like an RSI type one. But, oof. Anyway, look what I just found. Oh, 2 or 3 days. Ooh. Can you send me a link to what the one you've got, Susan, so I can have a look on ours and see if I can find something? That sounds awesome. How very Scottish. Okay, right, these are, let's move that across there, and zoom in. Zoom in, there we go. These are the beading needles that Andrea told me to get hold of. Because I thought I might do seed beads on the letters, remember? But I also thought it would be useful to be able to sew beads, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. And then Andrea said, you need a beading needle, and I'm like, duh, why didn't I think of that? I found my little staple removing mouse the other day, and that's not in here either. What the hell? I'll probably move things around again. Did I use something? Okay, I really have to tidy up my desk. It's my Sunday job. I sit and watch telly and, well, not telly, but YouTube, and catch up on everything. And tidy my desk, but I don't seem to be able to find half the stuff we need. Oh dear. Use the tweezers. That works. Bin. Yeah, I think that's what I need to. Okay, so these bead needles are different to regular needles. They're much, much, much longer. And they feel really weird because a needle always feels like it's got a beveled center. And then the eye is really wide. This, the eye is super, super thin. It's almost like there's been instead of putting two together and turning it into an eye, which is what most needles feel like, it's almost like they've cut down the middle and taken a piece out. It's super, super thin. It literally feels like nothing in your fingers. But I'm assuming that if your beads go on one end, then they must come off the other as long as your thread isn't too thick, which I use unbreakable thread anyway for mine. So Let's see if I've got any. I organised all my beads, look. I had some spare baggies left. And I organised all my beads. Oh, I wonder if those will be... Is that the right length to put my beading needles in? Because if it is, that would be awesome. Oh. No, not quite. It's about 0.5 millimetre too short. Never mind. I don't think I've got seed beads anywhere. Yeah, I haven't been able to arrange these in a way I enjoyed using them, so I've decided to arrange it by colour. So I've got iridescent type stuff, proper silver, Tibetan silver, pinks, purples, studs and fixings. This is a particular chain for a project. Reds, blues, yellows and oranges, white and green. And then these are clear. The ones in here are white, these are clear. And then this is a thing on its own, a necklace on its own. Now those aren't seed beads, but they are findings. These are the, when you make jewellery, if you use the wire to string beads, you put these on the end of the wire and they're soft and you could squish them down. They're called crimping beads. So I'm going to use one of these because the holes in these are about the same size as a seed bead. They're meant to be the same size as seed beads. They're meant to look like seed beads. Look at that. Oh, I'm so excited. Look, it passes right through it. I've never had this before. This is exciting. This is an exciting moment. Thank you, Andrea. This is awesome. Why did it not occur to me that they made needles that would actually fit through beads? Awesome. Yeah, so anyway, I'm hoping this will make it easier to find what I'm looking for because I've got everything, all my gold stuff in there, and you know, the only things I've got separate are large quantity things, like these are all snowflakes. Hi, Miss Maddie. I think that'll make it easier to find things rather than rummaging around.
Ro, do you have a Morgan hoop? One of those lap hoops, a standing hoop? It might be easier on your shoulder if you didn't have to lift your work up and down.
I don't have one. I have a tapestry loom. Maddie, what's the matter, baby? You've just been out for a wee. You can't possibly need to go out again. You literally just went out before I sat down. I have a tapestry frame that I can use, which is what I would normally use instead of a hoop, to be honest. I usually tag it onto my tapestry frame and do that. But in actual fact, I'm all right with this because I can sew it left-handed. So it doesn't really make any difference because I don't have to, I only ever sit at a table. I never sit separately. I never sit on a sofa or anything like that unless I'm not doing anything. I always sit at a table, so I can just rest on here and just lift it up and it's fine. It doesn't hurt my shoulder. So good suggestion, but I just use my other hand. If I had to use my right hand, I think it would be useful because then I'd be able to just hold my hand there and just sew that way rather than, you know, having to move about all the time. But it doesn't actually seem to be an issue with sewing because I was working on my Filofax last night. I didn't have any problems with it. And it, you know, it doesn't hurt now. It just feels uncomfortable. And I know if I painted with it and did a lot of this kind of movement, I would have a problem. Anyway, did anyone actually do their second house readings? Oh. Hi, what? You want to go pee? It's freaking... Okay, I'm sorry, hang on a minute. pain in the ass. Why didn't you go just now? Why didn't you go just now? Come on. Move your bum, Madge. Come on. Let's go, let's go. Oh, I meant to show you this as well. Okay, so before we get started, tiny bit of Sag and Capricorn, tiny bit of Aquarius, but no planets. Oh, so you've got a huge second house, but nothing in it. Interesting. Interesting. This is how my Filofax is looking. Long way to go yet, but I've stitched this pocket in. So I've stitched it around there. I also glued this edge because it's a frayed edge, so it wasn't going to just sew. I had to glue it as well. But I stitched it first and then I glued it. This is on. And I found on eBay, of course, I found a seller who sells the most amazing different trims. Really beautiful Victorian style diamante and glass trims, just beautiful. But she also had this one piece that's about that big, and it's a green floret like you would put on a collar. And she only had one left, so it was on sale because it said, you know, should be part of a pair, one is missing. So I had that, and it's dark green, so I'm thinking I could put that in the middle of there and it'll look really pretty. I've sewn the spine on. I sewed this on first, and then I folded the edges in on this and tacked it with some Pritt stick, and then I've sewn it on the good edge. So all of this is sewn on a good edge. The sewing isn't great. I mean, it's been hard flipping work. I've got calluses on my fingers from pushing through that blooming awful nylon. You know, it doesn't look amazing, but it's hardly noticeable either. So I'm not overly bothered that it looks a bit rough and ready. I'm not a seamstress. But I figure if I feel that it needs a little bit of something extra, I can always go back over these with a slightly neater coloured embroidery thread, because honestly, sewing black lace onto black canvas is not the easiest thing to do with black thread. I'm just going to put that out there. So this has been quite hard to actually stitch on, but I might, you know, like I say, I might put a little bit of edging on it, maybe in green or silver, maybe a bit of gold, I don't know. So long way to go yet, but I'm enjoying it. That's where we're up to with that. I also received my little piggy thing from my friend. So this is a actual Chinese card. I have to say, I thought it would be a little bit nicer quality. I always thought they would be nicer quality. Maybe the more expensive ones are nicer quality, I don't know. But yeah, it's just basically a piece of card. It got a bit trampled in the post, unfortunately, but you know, that happens. So it's got this cute little envelope. It's not a straight envelope. Look how pretty that looks. It's like a bracket. And it goes into there. So that's an interesting way of doing your envelopes, isn't it? Instead of having because we usually either have a round one or a triangular one. We don't have both together. So I thought that was interesting right off the bat. And then this opens up and we've got a little card in here. I'm told this is a greetings card, which you would write your message on the back of. And then I've got this, look at this. It looks nicer if it looks well traveled. Yeah, I kind of agree. I've got another Chinese stamp, so maybe I'll put a Chinese stamp on it. But yeah, this is my piggy. I don't know what the currency is in China. What's the currency? It's not yen, is it? That's Japanese. This is my commemorative 100 yuan. Is that how you say that? Yan. Yoon. Oh, for goodness sake, why don't we use something like the internet? Can somebody look it up? What's the currency of China? Is it like Chinese dollars or something? I don't know. It's the currency of China. Somebody look it up. But yeah, this is really nice. It's like the foil embossing you get, but it's all foiled. And then it's kind of laminate on the back. So I'm guessing it's foiled onto here and then it's pressed down. But it's really nice. I think that's really cute. So that's my little piggy. So he's going to go in my journal, in my little pocket thing. If he doesn't fit, then I'll put this in separately as a tip-in and put all of this in together. But I'm pretty sure, I don't know if they'll fit in the pocket, but they will fit in the journal. So if I put it like that, you can see the little piggy. Isn't it cute? I love this. So sweet. Oh, there's a little piggy. I know, I'm a child. And then he sent me this. Now this is, I don't know what this was when I started, but I've seen stuff like this before and it's been stickers. And I opened it up and it looks like, you know, glossy photos. That's what it looks like. But there are all these gorgeous oriental flowers and things. Some koi. Bird of paradise and a lotus. I'm not going to even pretend I know what all these flowers are. But they're really beautiful. They're all birds and Chinese renminbi. No wonder nobody knew what it was. Who's going to remember that? Renminbi. Thank you. How weird. I've never even heard that word before. How did I never... Means the money of the people. Oh, it's new. Oh, that's why. The old way is the yuan. Okay. These are all flowers and birds. It's a kingfisher. Aren't they pretty? And they're just little decals, basically. They are beautiful, aren't they? They're taken from works of art. There's hundreds of them. I really like this one. Look at that. And they're all sorts of different shapes. More fishies. Look at that. Beautiful. Is that a bird of paradise? Mexican bird of paradise is the red one, I think. Oh, no, it would be Chinese crested bird of paradise would be the red one, wouldn't it? Yeah, there's just hundreds, literally hundreds. I haven't even gone through them all. The beautiful one of a house on a river. Isn't that gorgeous? So pretty. Oh, that's the beginning. Okay, well, let's finish. Because I haven't actually seen them all myself. So the poppies. There's a couple of duplicates, but not many. That's mountains with a river. That's goes that way, I'm guessing. Puffin. Oh, look at that. That goes together. So that and that, if you join it there, or there, there. Oops, I can't hold it steady. Those actually join together. Isn't that pretty? They're so nice. And yeah, they're really nice colours. They're like watercolour. They're not like in your face, like really bright colours. They're very soft and they're almost like silkscreen prints, actually. The hummingbird. Butterflies on that one. Some gold bird on there. Oh, a hexagon one. A little boat, a river scene, and a bonsai tree. That's nice. Oh, I like this one. Bamboo. And some herons, it looks like. With those wingspans. This one that's got a double thing on it. Overlaps itself. That's cute. And then there's that one. So pretty. I've never seen these before. But they're such pretty stickers. I guess if you're a, you know, if you use something like a, I'm guessing these are probably Japanese, not Chinese, but yeah, it's got Japanese writing on it. But I guess if you're into like using small notebooks like a lot of the Japanese are, and you just want a little bit of decoration but not too much, that's a really cool way of doing it. Better than our stickers, aren't they? So yeah, that was my little treasure for today. Let's do some stitching. So I know. Oh, I have to turn my head down. You can't see me. There we go. That's my embroidery needle. Oh, what's happened there? My embroidery threads, because I didn't put them away the last time. At least that means I know where they are, all right? I do my colours on there? No, I didn't. Okay. Oh, excuse me. So, house 2. Mika has a really big house ruled by Sagittarius. Which is the first house on the oh, what's that? Creepy crawly. Oh, creepy crawly, you're not staying in. I'm sorry. The creepy crawly's here. Ew. Yeah, whichever the line is in, the house line. So you've got the ascendant, and then you come around to the next line, whichever line that house, whichever sign that house in, that's what rules that house. So Sagittarius rules your resources and things. Okay, so resources. What do we know about Taurus and stuff? Who rules Taurus? Let's start there. Who rules Taurus? They like stuff, nice stuff. Yes, exactly. They love this. They love their luxury. Taurus, I always say Taurus are the kind of people who would rather spend £800 on one cabinet than go to IKEA and kit their whole house out. Yeah, they will live with one sofa rather than an entire suite that is rubbish. My mum's a Taurus. For as long as I can remember, our house has always had whatever the latest style of furniture was when we were kids. So, you know, we never had, a lot of kids in the 70s lived in a house that looked like their grandparents' house, quite often because it was their grandparents' house and it had antique furniture and all that kind of stuff. No, we had Schreiber and Parker Knoll. Your hard furnishings were Schreiber and your soft furnishings were Parker Knoll. And if you didn't have that, then you weren't with the Joneses were so far ahead of you, you might as well emigrate. My parents were the Joneses. So yeah, we always had whatever the new style was when that awful foil paper came out with the pampas grass all over it and the pampas grass green bathroom and everything else like that, and the whole 3 walls painted, 1 wall in wallpaper. We had it all of it, mostly because my dad was able to do it himself, and because we, as a family, we weren't frivolous. My parents weren't big on, we're a family of introverts. We don't go out, we don't spend money, we didn't go out a lot. Neither of them drink, neither of them smoke. My dad smoked until he was 30, but then he gave up. So, when we had, my dad had a decent job. My mum brought in money as well. And because we weren't frivolous, we always had the cheap camping holidays in Devon in a caravan. We never went anywhere crazy so that we could have a nice house. My mum, she always said, her friends at the time, especially in the 80s, the whole thing was you had to go abroad. If you didn't go abroad and book your abroad holiday on teletext over Christmas, then you weren't anything. But my mum was like, I'd rather stay in a bed and breakfast somewhere in the UK or go camping, or my mum's version of camping is in a 5-star caravan, of course. Leave it. That was their preference. Instead of having nice holidays and going away for 2 weeks, they'd rather have a house that they enjoyed 50 weeks of the year. So we were well to do, as the neighbours put it. But it's purely because my mum, you know, she's quality over quantity. She's very minimalist. Their entire house is white. All the soft furnishings are pure leather, proper leather. Every piece of furniture in the house is cherry wood. You know, they don't have hardly any, you know, unlike a lot of people, they don't have any knickknacks or anything like that. Any books that they have are just the first editions or special books that they've had over the years. They don't keep, you know, stacks of Reader's Digest and stuff like that. It's quite crazy, actually. Shush. And my sister has inherited the same thing, which is why I keep getting all the antiques of the family. Every time somebody in the family pops their clogs, I get, do you want such and such's old desk? Maddie, stop. You've been a brat. Go lie down. Go to bed. You've been for a wee. Go to bed. Go to bed. You're a good girl. Go to bed. Go to bed. Go on. Go have a nap. So yeah, that's very much my mother. Am I hereditary witch? I'm not of the hereditary witch beliefs. Hereditary witch makes it sound like it's some kind of, you know, bloodline or something, you know. And my grandmother was a herbalist. She didn't call herself a witch, but she was married to a Romany gypsy who was a horse whisperer. And she concocted herbal medicines for the troop. And she made horse poultices and stuff from herbs on the roadside and things like this, you know. And she taught me about it, and she taught me the medicinal properties. If she'd been a man and she'd been like 200 years earlier, she'd have been an alchemist. It's all perspective. I don't think there's any such thing as hereditary witches. I think there are now. I think there are, you know, like my generation of witches have started having kids and brought them up as witches. So in that sense, they're hereditary witches. But I don't believe in all this, oh, well, you know, I come from the Cornish line of witches and all this crap. It's like, you know, once upon a time, any woman who could do anything that was in any way deemed like magic was a witch, as evidenced by the amount of them that were killed for being witches, even though they were just normal women. And I kind of have a beef with that as well, because there's two arguments, and they normally come out the same mouths. The Salem witches, oh, you know, we're the daughters of the witches you couldn't kill, blah, 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 blah. All the Salem witches were, you know, Christians were persecuting them and blah, blah, blah. And in the same mouth, the same sentence, they'll go, oh, yes, well, they weren't even witches. Or pick a side, you know, were they witches who were persecuted by the church, or they were innocent women who were called witches who were persecuted by the church? Which were they? You know, you can't have it both ways. So, yeah, you don't follow bloodlines either. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't even brought up as a witch. It wasn't until quite a lot later in life that I realised what I was doing was considered witchcraft. I was taught to read tea leaves. I was taught to read the tarot. I was taught, you know, all these different manners of divination, like scrying and dowsing and everything else. The only thing I never learned was reading the runes, because gypsies don't read the runes. But I learned all that, and I was brought up as a Catholic. That's what happens when you have a Romany in the family. It wasn't until much later. In fact, my grandmother died in 96, and it wasn't until after she died that I realised really that what I was doing was what everybody else was calling witchcraft. All this stuff that suddenly was coming up, you know, especially in the early 90s, mid 90s, when all the new age shops started appearing. And everybody was like, oh, you're a witch. Because, you know, by then I was a dyed-in-the-wool goth, had been for a long time. And basically, if you wore patchouli, wore black, and owned a set of tarot cards, you were considered a witch. And it was only through that, really, that I discovered that all these other people were calling themselves witches doing what I did. I never considered it witchcraft. I just considered it something we did. You know. Now I identify as a witch because I identify as a witch because at the time I didn't know much about Roma heraldry. But heraldry is passed down through the father's line, not through the mother's. So being the daughter of a daughter of a daughter who was married to a Roma means I'm not technically Romany, although I'm more Romany than anybody who's not considered, you know, I would be accepted as the wife of another Roma, but I'm not considered Roma myself, even though I have, you know, my grandfather was Romanian and Roma. And my grandmother was a Spanish-Irish gypsy. Her mother was Spanish, her father was Irish. And they were horse traders, which is how she met my grandfather, because he was a horse whisperer. He used to go around the horse markets looking after horses that were, obviously, you know, people were buying and selling horses. They weren't always in the best state. And he'd be the one going around tending to the horses to make sure that they were fully healed and, you know, making sure, checking if they were lame and all that kind of stuff. Calming temperamental horses and things. Now, I don't know what that's about. I don't know. I never met my grandfather. He died when my mum was 4. So he had literally, my mum didn't even know him. But whatever that thing is that they, you know, some people just have that ability to calm animals. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's presence or charisma or just an ability to be in sync with the animal. I don't know what it is, but I have it too. And it's only horses. So I don't know if it's a hereditary trait or something maybe I learned from what my grandmother told me about him. I don't know. But I went on it was a running joke in our family, actually. We'd go to Devon on holiday, and I absolutely adored horses, but we never had one. So always, because my mum liked driving around looking at the scenery. That was my mum's favourite thing to do. My dad liked driving. So anytime I said, hey, why don't we just get in the car and go driving on the moors? They were up for it. There's a nice quiet day of us just wandering around, you know. My sister would take a book and I'd be taking photographs or sketching or whatever, and they'd just be enjoying the scenery and wandering around. But they used to complain that there was never any horses until the minute I got out of the car, and then all of a sudden all the Dartmoor ponies appeared. It was like a cat call. It was hilarious. But we stopped at this one particular stop, and it actually said that there were ponies, and it said, you know, don't feed the ponies and all this stuff. But you could buy stuff from the ice cream van if he was there. He had horse feed that you could give them. And these people were sitting there, and this woman was complaining so badly. She was disappointed, like, understandably. She'd been sat there for 2 hours looking for these horses. They'd wandered all over the moors. They'd wandered here, there, and everywhere. They'd been calling. They'd been whooping. I mean, they'd probably scared the ponies away with the amount of noise they were making, you know. It's kind of like going pheasant hunting and running out into a woodland and going, "Hey, pheasants, where are you? come out, wherever you are." You know, that's not going to get you a result. So they were pretty disgusted, and they were just getting in the car, and they said, "Oh, we've been here for 2 hours. You're not going to get any ponies." And my dad jokingly said, "Oh, don't worry, we've got a horse whisperer. Give it 10 minutes, and they'll be here." Well, apparently they decided to, because they sat in the car and they just waited. And my mum and dad were sat on the roof of the car. And me and my sister went out and sat on the fence and just sat there. And within 5 minutes, we had about 15 ponies heading towards us. It's just like, it never failed. We went to the, I don't know how we got onto this topic. How did this happen? We got onto the, we went to the Plymouth Devonshire horse. It's the Shire horses. And they had Duke, who was the biggest, at the time, Shire horse in the country. I think he's dead now. But he was the only one who could wear the Shire horse regalia, because it was matched to him. And he was so huge that there was no other horse who could wear it. It was going to have to literally be remade, unless the next horse was as big as he was. So we go to this thing, and they said, "Oh, you can touch any of the horses, but don't go near Margaret." Margaret was named after Princess Margaret. And the reason she was named after Princess Margaret is because she was a bit of a stroppy madam, and she liked to snap at people. And she had teeth. She would bite as you went past. And as we came past the stall, she had a higher stall, because she would put her feet up on the stall and lean over and bite you. And she tried to snap at the woman in front of me. And he said, "Yeah, no, stay back. She's not friendly." I put my hand out and stroked her nose, and she just sat there. I just had no fear of her. I just knew. I don't know how or why, or whether it was just, you know, childish stupidity and confidence or whatever. But I just knew that she wouldn't hurt me, even though she just tried to bite the shoulder off the woman who had walked in front of me. I just knew she wasn't going to hurt me. So I just reached up and stroked her nose, and she just sat there snorting at me. So I don't know if I've picked up whatever it was. You know, maybe there's something about humans that animals can smell. Do you think maybe? Maybe it's something that's literally in your genes or in your blood that animals can pick up on. Because, you know, dogs are like that, aren't they? They can just, you know, they always say if your dog doesn't trust somebody, you shouldn't either, because they're usually right. Maybe it's body language or something. Could be body language. It could be a body language thing, because that would be, you get mannerisms running down families that, you know, you don't even need to know people, and you still get the mannerisms coming down the family, don't you? So that could be part of it. Could be, you know, a smell or a makeup or a mannerism, you know, the body language itself. That would certainly make sense with horses, because horses are very much affected by body language. But yeah, I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, I've picked it up too. Horses love me. Dogs love me. Cats, Cats don't really love anybody. But I do have cats come up to me on the streets. Even next door's chickens come over to the fence when I go out there. It's quite funny. How did we get onto that? Oh, hereditary witchcraft, that's why. My family has done divination over the generations, but not herbs or stuff. Yeah. The thing about divination is that a lot of it was a way of making money because people really believed in it. You know, there was a time when people believed as fervently in divination and fortune telling as they believed in God. It was all one and the same, and it was mysteries that they didn't understand, but there was people who could do it, and everybody was fascinated by it, of course. So an awful lot of divination and herbalism and stuff like that, if you were able to do it, that was how you made your living. An awful lot of the original herbalists and botanists became eventually the pharmacists. Hi, what is your moany for? Oh, she needs a belly rub. Belly rubs for Maddie. Belly rubs for Maddie. Belly rubs for the Maddie. There we go. Are you happy now? You had belly rubs? Very good girl. You're going to go back for napping. Only an hour, okay? An hour. Is that all right? And then we'll do snuggles, okay? We'll do park and we'll do snuggles. How about that? You want to do that? Yeah? Okay then. I think she's just getting fretful in her old age, you know. She's a bit strange. She acts weird sometimes. Maddie, don't gripe, my darling, please. Oh, actually, no, I don't like... If I take that out, I can go all the way down that line. Maddie! For sakes. Come on. There we go. Second house for Mika and you. Oh yeah, you have almost identical charts, don't you? It's very strange. Second house is ruled by Taurus, which says that the second house is all about stuff and things and how you relate to things you possess and what you are drawn to, and also how you view your possessions and things. So you have Sagittarius there. Fixed sign and mutable Sag trying to coexist. Yeah, exactly. What you have is basically, it's not really that Taurus is fighting. It's more that Taurus governs it. So it's not really that your Sag and your Taurus are trying to fight it out. It's more that Taurus dictates that. Oh my God, I think she wants to go out again. Hang on. Maddie, what are you wanting about, please? It's doing my head in. You've just been out. Why do you want to go out again? Well, don't just sit there and look at me then. You better go out. Come on. to stop moaning at me now? Hey? You going to stop moaning now? I don't know, I'm not sure. All she did was stare at the sky. But you never know. Maybe that's what she needed. Go on then, come sit on your bed. Come sit on your bed by Mummy or go to bed with Boo. Coming in here with Mummy. Come on then. Sit in there with Mummy. Good girl. Okay. So, Sagittarius rules how you view the Taurus-like things. So, stuff, possessions, things you have. It rules how you gather those resources. So if you think about somebody Taurus, let's say you've got Taurus in the second house. So Taurus is ruling your second house and it governs the second house. So the Taurian way of looking at things, you would expect somebody Taurian with Taurus in the second house, which is what my mum has, to be extremely house proud. Quality over quantity, absolutely has to have the best of everything, but not for other people. It's not about, oh, we've got to have this because that's what everybody else has got. She wanted it for herself, not to give it to anybody else. And she gets really annoyed because her neighbour at the moment keeps telling her what exquisite taste she's got and then copying what she's doing. And nothing bugs my mum more than everybody else having what she's got, because she's chosen what she wants for her and for Dad. And she doesn't want other people to have the same thing. That's why she goes for quality, because, you know, the more you spend, the less likely it is that other people will have it. Whereas a Sagittarian, where do you think Sagittarius would get most of their stuff from? If you think about Taurus as being kind of the high-end shopper, you know, they don't buy designer clothes because they're more expensive or for the name. They buy good quality suits and things that are extremely well made. And yes, they are expensive, but they buy them for the quality, not for, you buy whatever's there when you happen to walk by. Yeah, and where would you be walking by? Whereabouts, you know, Sagittarius, where would you be walking by? What sort of thing would you be walking past? Second-hand shops, yeah. Neighbourhood shops, yeah. Markets in Istanbul. Street markets in India. Because Sagittarius are the adventurers, the travellers. Sagittarians are the ones who will have a plethora of all sorts of completely pointless knickknacks all over their house that will have great stories to go with them. Because that's what I picked up. Back in this time, I went to such and such, and there'll be a huge story that goes with every single piece of memorabilia. Because for a Sagittarian, the stuff they bring home with them from their adventures that's the point of the stuff. It's material to go with the stories. Yeah, it's memories. Sagittarians are not generally the kind of people who write stories necessarily. They do tend to keep journals and everything else, but they tend to create more than travel logging, if that makes sense. But you will get a Sagittarian will come home with an extra suitcase full of stuff that they didn't take with them in the first place, because they bought so much crap while they were there. And they will come home with a plethora of stories, and each one of those memorabilia will be their travel diary. They like things that you can learn from. So they're the kind of people who would have a globe. You know, the old-fashioned globes that you used to get in libraries. They'd have one of those. They'd have, you know, astrolabes and sextants and collect all sorts of navigational memorabilia and things like that. because not for the aesthetic value, but for the stories that go with it. And did you know, if you do this, and you know, your Sagittarius child is the kid that can't decide whether it wants the 10-speed race bike or the microscope set for Christmas. And genuinely can't decide because they want to explore, but at the same time, they want to look at those really cool little leaves and see what's going on over there because they'll be able to learn something from it. And of course, being party animals, you love to tell stories. That's how you engage your audience, with wit and humour and, you know, the tales of your trips in the Middle East and other such things. Second house in Cancer, Jen. So what does that tell you about the things you have? Taurus, I have. Remember, Aries is I am. Taurus is I have. Cancer is I feel. Yes. So what does that tell you about the things you own? They mean something, exactly. Cancer is the people who keep the nostalgic crap. You know, the ones who are cluttered because they hang on to the kids' first haircuts, the rocking chair that great Aunt Lucy used, that's been passed down the generations and every child from the family has been nursed in it, you know, that kind of thing. It's not about the object itself. It's not about the quality of the object or the age of the object or anything. It's about the feelings attached to it, not the stories. You might keep something so simple, just a piece of fabric, a swatch of fabric, and you keep it because it means something to you. It means something because, you know, the day you ended up in hospital and you were really scared and your mum was at work and you couldn't, you know, there was nobody else to look after you, your grandma came and she gave you a cuddle and made sure you were okay. And that material reminds you, or even comes from the dress that your grandma wore that day. It reminds you of that feeling of being loved. It's not about a memory. It's not about the item. It's about the feelings it invokes. Cancers like to have things around them that make them feel good. So they tend to be the ones who will absolutely go to town decorating in their favorite color. They will have things around if they are particularly, you know, they really like the way velvet makes them feel, or they really like the way cozy fabrics make them feel, or they really like to be warm and that makes them feel happy and content. That's what they will have around them. That's what they will cover themselves with. That's what they will wear. It's far more important to a Cancer to feel right. So Cancer's homes tend to be quite welcoming. They tend to be lived in. A Taurus home will 9 times out of 10 be spotless, except for some hidden corners. It will be spotless because to Taurus, quality is everything. And if you have quality, then you look after it. Sagittarius is most likely to have dust bunnies because, well, that's not true. Aquarius is most likely to have dust bunnies because we hate housework. But a Sagittarian is quite likely to have dust bunnies or a cleaner because you can imagine how long it takes to clean all those knickknacks, and they'd rather be talking about the knickknacks or going out looking for more knickknacks than spending time at home cleaning the knickknacks. Whereas cancer needs to feel comfortable. They need to feel at home. Most cancer children have a favorite toy. I mean, a lot of kids have a favorite toy that they will take with them, but a lot of kids have, you know, any toy will do as long as it's one of their toys. Cancer will have a complete hissy fit if they cannot find that one toy that they're supposed to take with them. They're the kind of, the parents of cancer children are the ones who go on Twitter and go, please help me. My daughter lost her bear on this train and she hasn't slept in 3 weeks because she's not happy without it. You know, that's cancer. So you've got your grandmother's secretary desk. Yeah. Now, see, I've got my grandmother's secretary desk. I've got my grandfather's work desk, his work bureau where he kept his important papers. I now keep my important papers in it. I've got my great-great-grandmother's blanket chest. It was actually her trousseau from when she got married, which I believe is basically throughout a girl's life when she got special things or nice things, or she was handed down things that she could use in her married life or wedding or whatever. That was basically what went into that box. It was like a future box as opposed to a memory chest. And I believe her trousseau was what she took with her when she got married, if I remember correctly. But that's what it was. And I have all those, but I have them because, you know, I never met my great grandmother. My gran was, I don't know, I had a strange relationship with my gran and granddad because they didn't like my mum. And they certainly didn't like my other grandmother. To put it in context for those who understand it, you're looking at the daughter of someone who was a gypsy, basically, and a horse trader and healer. And well, my grandmother was eventually a nurse, but she started off as just the wife of a gypsy. And a Catholic, let's not forget that, marrying into the son of the Protestant son, no less, of a Sally Army major, which is what my gran was, and a Freemason. So you can imagine that they didn't get on all that well. Yeah, it was an interesting situation. And then, of course, my uncle had boys and my dad had girls. So even though I always outperformed, or in fact, me and my sister both outperformed both the boys that were our age and the eldest boy, we were always seen as the second-class citizens because my granddad's Freemasonry and very Victorian values didn't see girls as being anything special. You know, I think he was always disappointed that my dad didn't have boys, or at least one boy. But yeah, I never really, wasn't that I didn't know them, I did know them. We spent every Saturday with Gran. That's how I learned to sew and thrift and all that kind of stuff, because that's what my Gran used to love doing. She was a seamstress. But I don't know, there was always a tension there. It was always a bit, they don't really like us as much as they like the rest of the family kind of feeling. But I have all their furniture because I am the one who preserves the family history. I'm not interested in individual people. Aquarius in the second house with the Sun and Mercury. We're not interested in individual people. We're interested in the stories that they left behind, the things we can learn from the family group and the family dynamic. We're interested in, you know, I have my grandmother's diaries. I have a lot of my grandfather's papers. The only ones that didn't come to me was his notebooks. My grandfather, I wish I had them. My grandfather basically kept little field notes books. Do you remember the old, I don't know if they had them in other countries, but certainly here, they had little field note size books, A6 books, that were, they were hard chipboard covers on the outside, and they were always blue, always blue. And they had kind of a stripy, mottledy kind of spine that was cloth. And there was the blue ones and there was brown ones. The brown ones had leather with brown cloth, and the blue ones had cardboard with mottled cloth. The blue ones were notebooks and the leather ones were finance books. And my grandfather had one of those for every single year from the year he got married. And it was fascinating. But the problem was, the reason they didn't come to me as the family historian and the person interested in that kind of stuff is because he was a Freemason. So he had a lot of his lodge meeting notes in his notebooks. And he used to keep a lot of his lodge meeting expenses in the back of his, yeah, he had his own expenses in the front, and then he'd have the lodge meeting expenses in the back that he'd make notes on. So none of it came to me, it all went to my uncle, who's always also a Mason. Anything Masonic went to him. So I didn't get his notebooks, and I'm gutted because he had one of those little notebooks for every single year, right up until my dad said he was still writing in it the day before he died. So I was pretty gutted about that. But, you know, that's how the Masons work. It gets passed down to another Mason, not to family members. So I think even if it hadn't gone to my uncle, it would have gone to another lodge member, so, or one of his friends or something. But yeah, I've got all sorts of old papers and things like that. Just because I'm interested in the history. I've got my Gran's gold locket. I suppose now, you know, when I got it, it wasn't worth anything because it was like the 80s. Gold was pretty common. There wasn't as much value attached to it as there is these days. It seems to have gone back up in price. Gold and silver have gone back up in price a lot. But it was nothing, it wasn't valued as special, this gold locket. But to me, it meant everything because it's got a picture of my Gran's grandparents with her mother as a baby. So to me, it was priceless because it's family history. And being the nerd I am, I researched the style of the locket and where it came from and who made it and the jewelers that it was bought at. And, you know, then I researched the family, the style of dress, everything, you know, because I'm a nerd. I'm a giant nerd. That's what I do. But, yeah, I don't have the desks because it's my Gran's desk. I have the desk because it's of historical value and it's family history. And as the only person who's interested in any kind of family history and the keeper of the family tree and everything else, anything like that comes to me because my sister's not interested. My sister won't have extra paper in the house. She's inherited my mum's traits. Virgo. In fact, her entire house, nothing is allowed in her house unless it's black or white. I was given very strict instructions. She actually asked me, not what I was planning to get her for Christmas, but she said, just to let you know, if you are planning on getting us anything household related, please make sure it's black and white. We don't have any other colours in the house. Okay. I think she's a bit crazy, but you know, that's my sister. when she was asked if she wanted either of the desks, if I had one and she had the other, she was like, what would I do with it? Like, okay, I'll have all of them then. So I have all the desks. Yeah, she's a bit, I don't know, weird. But she thinks I'm weird for having all this old junk around. She's like, why don't you ever buy anything new? I'm like, why would I buy new when I can buy something for a 10th of the price that's an antique and got a story behind it? And it's not just like, oh, I've got the desks and I use them and they sit there in the corner and they look pretty. I use my desk. You've seen my vintage bureau. I use it. My granddad's desk is sat there. I don't use that quite so much because it's a little bit more fragile, but I've got all my important paperwork and finance stuff and things in it. And anything that's valuable, like my grand's locket is in there. My blanket chest from my great grandma is sitting here under my printer with a cloth over it so that it doesn't get damaged. And guess what's inside there? All of my diaries, because that's what's important to me. My diaries, my grandmother's diaries, any other diaries I've managed to pick up that are handwritten, anything like that. But I'm not interested specifically in the individuals. It's family. It's, more people, more to do with the context, the group, the community, that kind of thing. It's not to do with the individual. You have your great-grandmother's secretary desk. Lovely. A secretary desk is one of those, is it one of those big ones that has the drawers on the side? Because there's different styles of desk, isn't there? Let's see, great-grandmother, you're, how old are you? Same age as me? A little bit younger? Your great-grandmother would have been Edwardian, I would think. Maybe early Victorian. Yeah, Edwardian, early Victorian, maybe. Yeah, you're same age as me. So yeah, yours would have been Edwardian, early Victorian. So is it one of these big, heavy, solid things that is not particularly ornate, but it's beautifully made? Because that's a very Edwardian thing, is to have, it's like my granddad's desk. It's beautifully made, but it's incredibly simple. There's no, or nothing. The most ornate thing about it is the lock. Actually, the plate on the lock. And yeah, it's beautiful. If you take the drawers out, they're all dovetail joints and they're immaculately made. They're so precise. They're just completely flush with each other. There's no glue or anything. They just fit together. It's incredible craftsmanship. You have the keys and everything. Small with drawers. Yeah, but is it solid? Like when I say big and heavy, I mean like it takes two people to lift it. Because mine is, it's a beautiful piece, but man, it's heavy. So what else have we got? Who else? What are you, Ashley? What's your second house? Oh, you don't know your chart yet, do you? Do you have your grandmother's desk because it means something to you because of her, or because of, perhaps your grandmother used it or whatever, it's been passed down the family? Or do you have it simply because it's a really cool old piece of furniture and you like the old vintage thing, and just because you love the desk? So you're like me, you love the desk. Well, that's not true. It's not necessarily that I love the desk. I love the desk. I do love the desks. But it's not necessarily about the desk. It's about what it represents to the family unit and to the community as a whole, and in the context of history. I think that's more what it is for me. It's more about what it means in the context of history. whereas seems more to do with the object itself and how the object has been used and looked after over the years and what you can learn from the object itself. Has imprints of her writing and everything. That's fabulous. That's really cool. So we're looking at preservation of the past. Not nostalgia, not how it makes you feel, but what it means to you. So no, not how it makes you feel, but what it means as an object. It's cool that it's been in the family, but you look at it as yours, right? So it's about the object. It's not about oh, it's been passed down the family, blah, blah, blah. It's a beautiful object. It's been passed down the family and now it belongs to you. And that's the important part. Now it belongs to you. And you have this beautiful thing in your possession. Right. So who does that sound like? Who do we think Ashley has on her second house? Where's my lovely goldy orange? I need that. Speaking of. Ooh. Can't find my nice old orange. Where's that gone? Anyone want to hazard a guess? If we're thinking about Taurus as the one who has to have the quality over quantity, Taurus has to have nice things. Nice things does not necessarily include a, oh, there it is. Put it away, apparently. The one? Yeah. Nice things does not necessarily include a battered old desk that has somebody else's handwriting on it. Who likes to say mine, mine, mine? Mine, mine. Yeah, that's mine. Because it's all about me. Everything's about me. It's all about me. I'm going to hazard a guess that Ashley has Leo in her second house. I think. Or a very strong sun in her second house, which is also me. I have Aquarius conjunct the sun. And it, you know, I am a bit me about the pride of the desk. Yeah. Look at it. It's mine now. Look what I have. Absolutely. I'm going to say that Ashley is probably a Leo second house. Do you like gold, Ashley? Or just metallics in general, but especially gold? Because that's a big Leo thing. Splendor. Maddie, Scooby, leave it. Leave it. Hey. I've pulled the wrong end of this again. I got a 50-50 chance of getting it right. Definitely metal, yeah. But shiny, opulent. A little bit too ornate. Do you have a tendency to go... You've got a donkey on your wall. Maddie! Talking about things that are just a little bit too ornate. You may have a bit Sagittarius in there as well. You might have Jupiter in Leo or something. That would make sense. Because there's a story there. Why the hell do you have a donkey on your wall? There's a story, right? It's funny you should ask. Do a tour of the house. Oh, that would be interesting, yeah. There's another Leo trait, you see. I'll have to show you. I'll have to show you. Who else would sit in a class, right, in a class with people that generally you don't really know and say, oh, I'll do you a tour of my house? Who else would do that? You definitely got some Leo going on there. Absolutely. I'm sure of it. Let me show you what I've got. Let me show you. What else have we got? Anybody else got something? Just, yeah, just don't come over. Yeah, I'll tell you all about, I will write you a beautiful letter and take a beautiful photograph of my vintage writing desk, but don't come over to see it because you won't get in the door. But again, that's a very Leo thing. Leos dominate their house. Leos are in charge of where they live and they do not like to be called upon. You do not call upon royalty, royalty calls upon you. That's a very Leo thing. I reckon you've got Leo somewhere in that second house. Either a very strong sun, possibly with Jupiter, or sun in Sag or something like that, or you've got Leo. Because that is a very Leo thing. Cats are very private. Home is all about family. It's not about other people. It's about you. Anyone else know what their second house is? Or want to guess what they think their second house is? And then you can tell us, oh, you're an only child as well. Oh my God. I was an only child. Oh, for 6 glorious years. Watch out. Oh, you're funny. Right. Anyone else? Anyone else want to? You think yours might be Aquarius, Mara? What makes you think that yours might be Aquarius? Or are you looking at your chart and you think you've figured it out to be Aquarius?
Yeah, I think, can I put it up? And I don't know if...
Oh, let's have a look. Hang on. Spotlight. Oh, hang on. There we go. Okay. Oh, hold it still. Hold it still. Where did you get Aquarius from? Ah, you're going the wrong way around the circle. Remember, we go anti-clockwise.
Okay. Then no.
So that makes you... What does that make you?
Oh dear. So would it mean I go to the opposite side or I go...
No,
okay.
You're going anti-clockwise. You're going clockwise around the circle. You need to go anti-clockwise.
So does that, sorry, Pisces, does that mean?
The first line. You read it right, but you went the wrong way around the circle.
So, but then I go this way.
There you go. So you're Aries.
Aries. Okay. Thank you.
So what's Aries then? Pisces, then Aries, yes, but the line itself is in Aries. So she's ruled by Aries. The secondary thing is Pisces.
I see. Okay.
So as her secondary thing to do with her stuff, she has a lot of things that hold spiritual meaning for her or her family, or have held spiritual meaning. She probably has a lot of photographs of ancestors and family and things like that. Look at her grin. That's a Pisces thing. That's the spirituality and the law of the descendants. And okay, there we go. The law that where you come from and where you are going is very important to a Pisces spiritually, but that's a secondary thing. Primarily, she's Aries. What does that tell you? What do you think, Mara?
I honestly don't know.
It's hard because, especially because people don't generally like to talk about what they're like in their personal lives, especially at home, because home is your sanctuary. So I appreciate it is a bit tricky to go there. Andrea suggests starts home projects and then leaves them unfinished.
Oh yeah, that's a good one, yes. I have a lot of family things, sometimes feels too much, but I do have a lot of family things.
Why would this be? Why would this be? Why would, because, you know, nostalgia is not an Aries trait. And stuff is not a Pisces trait. The meaning of things. Photographs represent, for a Pisces, there was an old saying that every time you had a picture taken, it took a part of your soul, and that's why photos of the dead were so important. That you had photos of your ancestors because it was representative of them. It's common in Mexico as well. You have photos of your ancestors represents a little part of them that's in the family. You can have anything else. The entire house could be theirs. It doesn't matter. If you don't have a photo, then you don't have a piece of them. So that's quite a widespread belief. But yeah, Aries, what do they like to do? Start things and not finish them. They like to be ahead of the pack. They like to have the ideas and start them and say, oh, we should do that. Let's do that next weekend. That's Aries' favourite thing. They watch a home improvement show. We could do that. Let's do that next weekend. And because it's going to happen straight away, the things get started. Oh, we'll start clearing that out then. I've got today free. I'll start clearing that out so we can get that started at the weekend. And everything gets measured, and, you know, things will get ordered and stuff like that. And then the weekend comes and something else comes along that grabs Aries' attention. Oh, we should do that. And that project is never going to get finished. Does that sound familiar, Mara? Yeah. How are we doing so far?
I like rearranging my apartment, but I don't always finish the little bits to start art projects or something and don't finish often too. So
easily distracted. Aries are squirrel brained. So your attitude to your home and the things you have is always on the next shiny thing. The next new thing, the next thing you can do, the next thing you can find, the next thing you can try, the next bright idea. It's always on the next thing rather than necessarily the preservation of the past. You might have a lot of the past around you, but that's not what's important. What's important is, oh, we could try this, we could try that, we could do this, we could do that. Because to Aries, it's important to be doing. So if you're not renovating, you're Aries, you get bored easily. Yeah. That comes across in you a lot, Ashley, actually. Even just from what we've seen of you in the class, yeah, that definitely comes across, that you are easily bored. Because, you know, starting things is exciting. Starting new projects is really interesting. Getting started with them, having the idea, going, oh, how about we do this? You know, it's the whole, let's go to the mall. All right, I'll drive. Yeah. Not thinking through the consequences of it before you start. Can you afford to finish the project? Do you have time to finish the project? Do you even know somebody who can do the project? Because you could try and do it yourself, and you probably will, but sooner or later, you're probably going to need a qualified electrician. Do you actually know one? Can you afford one? Aries has no idea because they won't have actually bothered to check. Yeah, lots of half-baked ideas. Definitely seeing the home and the possessions and things you own more as mini projects. Many things to be done or dealt with or used or whatever, but not really things, mini projects. Likes to make stuff. Aries likes to make stuff too, which explains your arty thing and why you get distracted from your sorting, which is not Aries' favourite part of the job. Aries likes to say, hey, why don't we sort this out? Why don't we clear out the garage this weekend? And then hopefully somebody else will take on the job. Ideally, Aries needs to have a Capricorn partner who will finish the job and get it done and not resent the Aries for starting the job and not getting it finished. They will take great pride in the fact that they finished it. Because by then, Aries is like, ooh, you know those memes, like, I keep trying to tidy up my room, but I get distracted by all the cool stuff I find. That would be Aries. You juggle all sorts of things, yeah. Well, I don't have, ooh. There we go. Let's take Mara out of the spotlight so she doesn't feel quite so exposed there. I'm not easily distracted and I'm not easily bored. I just like to try lots of different things. I have to know everything. I have to, you know, that's Aquarius. I know. I have to know. And I can't know unless I've tried it. So it's not so much for me boredom, it's I have to know how things work. So if something attracts my attention, I have to know about it. And I have to know more about it. Hence, I will go off on usually short, but mostly conclusive journeys on stuff, like my junk journaling journey. I'm now on to junk journal filofaxes and altered filofaxes and lots of stitching and hand stitching and sewing stitching and all sewing machine stitching and all that kind of thing. I'm talking about adding sewing to my painting there and adding sewing into my mixed media as part of what I do, you know, which immediately has added another string of, ooh, I wonder if I can sew on proper canvas. I wonder if I can paint on proper canvas. I wonder how that'll work. And I'm trying to put that on a back burner. I've had to write that one down. I'm going to be naughty. My grandmother would kill me, but I can't be bothered to finish that off. So I'm pulling it up through the satin stitch and then I'll go across to the next one. You can't see it. Nobody will know it's there. Grandmother, Taurus, you'll know it's there. And I used to trying to explain to her, like, well, yeah, I'll know it's there, but I won't care. It doesn't bother me that it's there. In fact, if I'm honest, I kind of like the idea that I know it's there, but nobody else does. Because I know, you know, that's the, we like to know things. Yeah, I want to explore. I want to always try new stuff. I want to always be gaining knowledge, learning. It's all because I've got Mercury conjunct Mars. I've got Mercury conjunct the Sun and Aquarius. Sun's in Aquarius. Mercury's conjunct, but Mercury's in Capricorn. I think that's right. I can't remember my own chart. I swear I'm losing my brains. So yeah, it's not about boredom. It's just like, I know about that now. If I know about things, it's not interesting to me. Once I know about it, I'm not interested. Once I've figured out the mystery, I'm done. Well, like unsolved murders. It's no fun if you know who did it. What about, let's go off in a different direction. What about a Virgo? We talked about Virgo already. Anybody got Virgo in the second house? What do we think of Virgo's attitude to stuff would be? Two key elements to a Virgo. Discriminating and picky. Yeah, pretty much. My sister's sun in Virgo is in her second house. And discriminating and picky doesn't even begin to cover it. They are control freaks, and it's all about money. And their love of money. Taurus is quality over quantity. They will buy something that is beautifully handmade because it is beautifully handmade. They will not buy something just because it's expensive. Virgo will buy something just because it's expensive, because if it's expensive, it has to be good. They also tend to be a little bit quirky, control freaks who are very adamant that their way is correct. Their way is the way everything's going to be. And, you know, Virgos don't tend to be the kind of people, although they're not really homemakers specifically, that's more of a Taurus thing. A Virgo would never dream of having a cleaner. Because they can do it so much better. Okay, well, they would have a cleaner, but they would probably clean. A Taurus, right? Here's an example, because my mum and my sister are Taurus sun and Taurus in the second house, and Virgo sun and Virgo in the second house, respectively. My mum is the sort of person who would clean before the cleaner arrived, and my sister is the kind of person who would clean after the cleaner left. That's Taurus and Virgo in a nutshell. Whereas Aquarius, we have cleaners because we're too lazy to clean. We've got other things to do. We know what cleaning does. It, you know, yeah, whatever. Sanitation's important. The toilet's clean. If you want the rest done, hire a cleaner. Because it's not going to be done by us. We're far too busy doing other stuff. cancers, we had a cancer, didn't we? A cancer, again, unless they were really busy or they had a very demanding career that they loved very much, for a cancer, home and how it feels is really important. So they might hire a cleaner to come in sort of once a month to do a deep clean or go over things, but looking after the home, you know, cancer would clean as they go. Cancer's homes are very rarely dirty because they clean as they go. So unless they are in a position to afford a cleaner and they don't need to look after the house particularly because they live on their own or something like that, you know, mostly cancers like to just feel comfortable. And if it's overly clean and it's overly pristine, it doesn't feel lived in. Cancers' homes are often very, very, very hygienic and safe, but untidy, lived in, roughed up a bit. They don't feel the need to put things away immediately. They don't feel that it's necessary to have all their books on the table stacked up in neat little piles. And if one of them falls off on the floor, it'll probably stay there until they get up and go and make a cup of tea. Because they just want to feel comfortable. They don't need things to feel pristine. Whereas Virgos wouldn't have books because they'd get out of place. And a Taurus would only have books that actually were of good quality, and they would be looked after and put on a bookcase. Sagittarius books would be far-flung places, exotic food, ancient history, or pretty much anything that didn't relate to ordinary life. If you want to get interesting books to borrow, you go and raid a Sagittarian's library, because they'll have everything from how to grow a spider plant to, you know, books about the first space shuttle mission and stuff. Again, expansive learning. Anybody else got a second house anywhere? Anybody else know what their second house is, or want to hazard a guess at what it might be? Or can I show you my new tarot deck? It's absolutely. Oh, Susan's a Leo. Susan's a Leo. We've already done Leo. What did you make of Leo? Is that you too? Your home is your domain, and it's all about you and what you want. And don't come and visit me. Look at what I've got, but don't come over. Susan's typing, so Susan's a typer. So while you're putting what you think there, let's get Andrea to show us her tarot deck. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's like Japanese.
Her name is Nikisha Vanderhoven, and she's in Seattle. And this is her yoga rabbit.
Well, Nikisha is a Japanese name, but Vanderhoven is Dutch.
Yeah. Oh, she's just the nicest person. She sent me these postcards. I loved her fox. I thought her fox.
I would think with Japanese Dutch, the only way she could be nicer was if she moved to Canada.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh my God, look at that. That's beautiful.
What she did I wanted a tarot deck for next month for Astara for the spring. And she did a deck of rabbits. And all of the swords are carrots. And all of the pentacles are daisies. Oop, I can't.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It is sweet. And the tulips are the cups.
Oh, oh my
I know.
God, this is so cute. I want one.
And you know, they're intelligent. They're not sweet, you know, cartoony sweet. And
No,
she
they're
did,
like illustrative. Cute.
yes. And for
realistic like we do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. That's gorgeous.
That one is string.
There we go.
Yep. That one is string. And I always go, my favorite card always in every deck is the Hermit.
Hermit, yeah. Look at that.
And I love her Hermit Rabbit. And I thought her death was really nice too.
Oh, that reminds me of Watership Down.
It does. It
the
does.
Rabbits of the Friss and El Herrera.
Yeah. But I thought, I just love the thing about using carrots instead of swords.
Yeah, how cute. So it's got carrots, tulips, flowers, and...
it's got tulips for cups and daisies for pentacles. So this is the daisies.
Wands, branches.
Yep, branches for wands.
It's so adorable.
I
What's
really
the star look like? Because that's my card.
Oh, the star? Sure.
They are beautifully done. I love her illustrations. They're a little bit like Mickey's, actually. The way she draws her foxes and rabbits.
Yeah. Let me find. Let's see.
So Susan's take on being a Leo is my home is my sanctuary and I don't want to share it. Oh, come the other way, Andrea.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Every time you share, you go the wrong way. You go to your left instead of your right.
I think it's backwards from what I'm actually doing.
Yes, we're over here. There.
There's the Knight of Swords. He's got a carrot riding his goat.
It's Nakisha.com, Ashley. The moon?
There's the moon.
That's so cute.
Yeah?
I see why you're on your moons and bunnies thing now. So there's the Queen. I like her. And the King. King of Wands. Very cute.
Mm-hmm.
Page of Wands, maybe? Oh, seven of Wands.
And I like this one.
Did we find the star?
Not yet. I'm going. Here we go.
Right, okay, just checking.
Poor guy.
Don't want to miss it. Oh, is that 10 of Wands?
Yep, 10 of Wands.
Poor thing.
And this is 9. 9 of Pentacles. And there's a poor guy with his carrot. Oh, there's the 2 of...
Nakisha Vanderhoven. Is that right?
Yep, that's it. She's on Etsy. Some of these, she still has the original watercolors, and she's selling the last of them on Etsy.
Oh, they're beautiful. They're so cute. Lovers. Oh,
there's the lovers.
I love it. There's the star. Oh my God, I love it. Oh, it's beautiful.
I mean, and there's the Magician.
Oh my God, I think I want this deck.
It's a wonderful deck for spring.
Oh, they're so cute.
I mean, some of the decks are.
Oh, the Wheel of Fortune.
Yes, with the little mouse in a wheel or a hamster on a wheel. Actually, I've been there. And that would be the Queen of Cups. Yep. Here's a king.
Oh, so sweet. Oh.
She's had, this is her Dutch rabbit with the black and white face, and then she has a white bunny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Those are the 2 she uses.
Oh, 10 of sticks. Oh my God.
I know. Look at I like the way she did the page with the stick on the pendant. Yeah. I'm sorry.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Oh.
And there she is.
A little dog.
Oh, no, it's actually a goat. My camera's not very good. It's a goat.
Oh, is it a goat?
It's a goat. Mm-hmm. And the tulips are cups. There's her Dutch bunny with the 8 of Cups. So, oh, here's the world.
Oh, that's cute. That's my other card. That one in the
Queen of Swords.
That one in the star is my 2.
And there's the 10 of Swords, always the scary card. The rabbit looks properly terrified. There we go.
Yeah. He's got that kind of look on his face of, okay, when I left home, All my carrots are in a nice neat pile.
Yes.
Who did this and are they still here?
Here's the tower.
Ah, the tower. He's so good.
And here's the fool.
Oh, gorgeous.
I know. Judgment.
I want these just because they're so cute.
The one thing when you order these from her, and she doesn't try to, I mean, it's always very clearly labeled, but you have to be a little bit careful. She also, these are pretty much regular size tarot, but but she did make a mini deck, and they're really small. They'd be hard to do.
That's a good thing though.
Yeah.
For those who have to pay international shipping and import fees, having a mini deck is always a good idea. Well,
yeah, she sent, I mean, this is the size of, she sent me one as a sample. Oh, God, my.
The chariot. Oh, my God, that's so cute.
But you can see they really are small, you know, so if you wanted to do.
Credit card size, are they?
Well, this is about the size of a credit. These aren't big cards. These are about the size of a credit. Oops, let's put my credit card on the internet. There's a credit card. So a little bit bigger, the regular size are, but these are much smaller.
Oh, they're so sweet though. Oh my God.
Hey, Emperor. I wanted a springtime tarot deck, something that would be really fun and charming. And I really think this is cute.
I think you hit the nail on the head, didn't you, really?
Yeah.
Because even I like this and I'm not into rabbits. I've always thought rabbits were a bit creepy.
Oh, no.
Thanks to my big, evil, scary bunny thing.
Oh, well, that's true.
Seriously, that thing was, it wasn't just evil, it was possessed, okay?
Ooh.
Oh, it's got a little bit of a Peter Rabbit feel to it, almost.
Mm-hmm.
They're not quite as twee and cutesy as Beatrix Potter, but they're very much along those lines, aren't they?
Well, I think she has spent some time among rabbits.
Oh, she's a rabbit lover. Absolutely. Yeah, she's had. Well, if they are her rabbits that she's drawn, because she's got the anatomy and everything. She has other animal decks too. Oh, cool.
And this is the back of the card. I hope I can get this in. I think I really love the illustration on the back of the card.
Yeah. What a lovely design.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I guess that's going to be my next deck then.
Yeah, but I think she does a lot of foxes though, because
she has a dog deck. She has dog, badger, and horse decks. She has a dog deck.
So, but anyway, and then she sent me this too.
Excuse me, I've got.
She sent me this little, I don't know if it'll show up. She sent me a little sample watercolor.
Other side, your other left. No, your other left.
The
little, other left. Other way. There we go. Oh, he's sweet. Oh, and he looks like James.
He isn't, and this is an actual little watercolor that she sent me. It isn't a print.
That's just like a little sketchy outline and a bit of watercolor, but it's so good.
It's wonderful. She's wonderful, and it was so nice ordering from her.
Rabbits. Did you say they were her rabbits that she draws?
Yes. Well, she has one white and one Dutch. That's how she got the black and white, I guess.
That's why she's good at them.
When you order from her on Etsy, she really does send you a packet of goodies.
They're so cute.
So anyway, that's my springtime tarot deck.
The dog deck is domestic animals. Okay. That sounds cool. Oh, that's so lovely. I love that fox. That's really gorgeous.
And this was one of the freebies she sent me. This is the
That's
yoga
her fox.
rabbit.
I'd love to see one of her dogs.
I love the Buddha bunny.
Oh, the little Buddha one.
Yep.
On the wall with his incense. Oh, that's really sweet.
Really, I was
really Tai Chi in the garden.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I love that. Thanks for sharing that. That's lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else got anything they want to share? I'm nearly done with this, so I'm about to... Oh, Sue's got some goodies. What goodies have you got there, Sue?
Trying to get my mic to come on. This is the deck that I bought because I just love everything.
Look at those! The star!
And then...
Oh. Look at that fox!
Isn't it gorgeous?
Crystals. Oh, I like that idea.
And then there's...
So crystals is wands, is it?
Yes.
Oh, look at that bunny! The Empress. Bunnies keep coming up. Why do bunnies keep haunting me? Why do I keep going, oh, look at the bunny, it's cute?
Bunny is my messenger. I don't know. Anytime something is gonna change, a rabbit shows up in my front yard. And I live in the middle of the city, so it's a little unusual.
Yeah, you'd notice that. So I can expect some change of some sort. Great. Just get everything organised.
Aren't they beautiful?
Look at those two. Coyote, the shadow. Oh, wow. These drawings are beautiful. Who's the artist on this?
Let's see here.
Paulina
There we
Cassidy.
go.
There's another one we're going to have to look up then. So Paulina Cassidy and Nikisha Vanda something. Nikisha.com. I know it's Nikisha.com. And Paula Cassidy. Oh, these are beautiful. Look at all that pen work. I wonder if she does the watercolour first and then does the pen work over the top, because it does kind of look like that, doesn't it? The Hermit is a koala. Look, Andrea.
I got this deck off Amazon, surprisingly enough.
Amazon have some pretty good decks, actually.
They do.
A lot of sellers put theirs on Amazon once the first printing is done.
This one just really spoke to me. Because they're all animals.
Oh, that elephant's beautiful. All that detailing, it's gorgeous. She reminds me a little bit of SPM Law. Oh, the magician, look at that. SPM Law is a little bit more fantasy and fairy type based, but the style is quite similar. Oh, a lynx as the priestess. Very nice. These are gorgeous. A lot of thought's gone into what she's used for each of these. I
thought so too.
I think it looks almost like she's done spirit animals. Is that what it's called? Spirit animal deck?
Spirit song, yeah.
Ah, it looks like she's gone for the spirit animals because elephants do represent strength.
Mm-hmm.
Transformation is a moth. Yeah.
And then...
Look at that fox. Isn't he lovely?
I know. Foxes just speak to me. And then as you kind of go through these, there's no real... One animal doesn't represent the whole thing. They just kind of switch off.
Oh, acorns. That's cute. Is that cups?
Yes. I had to stop and think about that one for a minute. No, wait a minute. I think the shells.
No, shells is cups. Oh, look at that. So we got shells is cups, crystals is wands, acorns is probably pentacles.
Let's see.
Because acorns is earth.
I wrote it down so that I would remember.
Yeah,
there we go.
Oh, wands are acorns.
Yeah.
That sounds a bit strange. Feathers, swords, air. Yeah, that makes sense. Cups, shells. Yeah. Pentacles, crystals. Huh. I would have gone acorns, earth, and crystals, fire, personally.
Look at her mouse.
Because crystals are forged in heat, whereas acorns grow from the earth. Oh, these are so pretty. Oh, that's gorgeous. Look at that one, the ram.
Mm-hmm.
I love that she's used unusual animals too.
Yeah, none of them I don't think
you won't
ever
find a
used.
walrus in many decks. Oh, these are really lovely. Ah, a river otter. Otters keep turning up for me too. The rabbit deck is sold out. Oh no. Mika got all excited, I think. She was going to go and buy one. Just checking.
Meerkats.
Of course, you only just got your first deck, didn't you, Mika? So you're probably on the lookout for a second one as well to play with. Meerkats. Oh, seahorses, bears. Oh, she's put some real care into making it a good variety, hasn't she? She really has thought about this.
Oh, he's pretty.
Oh, look at him. He's beautiful.
This is my first deck too.
Giraffe. You don't see many giraffes in decks either. Gorgeous goat too. That's a nice Capricorn representation. Oh, you've been collecting decks for years. Who was it who got a new deck that had just got their first deck? Maybe it was Risha then. Maybe I'm confusing you with Risha. Somebody had just got a new deck. And it was barely out of the plastic. And they're like, I want another one already. Yeah, welcome to Tarot Deck Collecting 101. These are gorgeous. Look at him. Oh.
I love all the color in the sea star.
See, acorns, fire, and yet it's all woodland creatures. I would have definitely said that was more earth. It's all kind of local creatures that you would find in your woods, or feathers are all air creatures, are they? Oh no, aardvark. An aardvark, and a cute aardvark at that. Pelicans. Cheetah. Yeah, cheetahs are fast. It's beautiful, isn't it? Oh, the little Queen of Crystals is a hedgehog. Jackal. Flamingo. Ooh, a flamingo's creepy or what? Is it
they
just
are
me?
creepy.
I found some. I texted Anna the other day, the girl who made my book. I said I found the perfect paper clips for my Alice book. They're pink flamingos, and they are so creepy weird looking. Ooh, look at that bat. Gator. These are gorgeous. There's a lot of time and work gone into these. I mean, obviously, a lot of time and work goes into all of them, but look at all that. That's a lot of artwork and also a lot of symbolism work. If anybody's interested in the artistic side, by the way, Kiri Leonard, who did the Green Witch Tarot, has a series on her tarot deck that she's put up on YouTube. And she goes through the entire start to finish thing of what it's like to be an artist creating a tarot deck. Right from concept drawings right the way through to actually finding a printer. You've got the Journal for the Wild Unknown. Oh, it's beautiful. That's gorgeous. I love that. Thanks for sharing that. That's beautiful, Susan.
You're welcome.
Nice choice. Right. So I'm going to show you what I've done, where I'm up to. I haven't got a huge amount done, but it's been nice to just sit and sew and finish things off. So I've got my, let's just focus a second. I've got my lamb finished. He looks nice and woolly and lamb-like. I'm very pleased with him. Haven't done his eye yet because that I'll use, I don't want him to have a big bobbly eye. So rather than doing embroidery thread, I'll just use regular sewing thread to do his eye. So it's a little bit smaller. I've done my crocus. I need to obviously outline that and then do the leaves, but I'm going to do my snowdrop. And then I've got to do the flame while I've got the yellow out. So I'll do that in a minute, I think. It's only a quick thing to do. And then I'm on to the snowdrop and the leaves. And then I've got to do the writing. And I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do with the writing. I've got several options. A lot of the Wheel of the Year stuff is related to silver and gold. And if you do it right, you can alternate it silver and gold. So I'm thinking maybe I'll alternate it. I might do some seed beading on the letters. This is probably just going to be plain. I'll probably do this in like a dark brown. I don't want it to stand out too much. If I do black, it's going to dull the colours. So if I use like a dark brown, that would be quite interesting for the writing there. But I'm not sure what to do for the writing up here. And I haven't decided on the framework either. I still don't know if I want to actually do a frame. What I could do is use dark brown to do the writing and the frame, but just do the frame in much thinner, like single strand rather than 3-strand. And I'll probably use 2-strand for the writing because it'd be too thick otherwise. So that's a possibility as well. But it's looking pretty cool. I like it. I haven't got much left to do on it now. How's everybody else's embroidery coming on? Are you still working on it, or have you put it to one side and forgotten about it? How are all our Aries getting on? Did they actually get started? They would have got started, but have they actually done anything since? Anybody? Anybody at all? Nope. Oh, you've practiced some stitches. Good, Nika. Excellent. And I know Burgess is trying to dig her. She found her embroidery stuff, she said, and she's dug all that out, and now she's just trying to clear a spot so that she can put all her sewing stuff out. Figured out the design, transferred it to the velvet. Oh, you're working on velvet, crikey. Susan's bought some stuff. Excellent. Not that you specifically need to buy stuff, but you know, if you didn't have anything, then of course you need to. Doing bead embroidery on velvet. Oof. Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a... I like beads on velvet because it sits down into the fabric and it looks really nice. But yeah, that's a lot of work. Do you work one bead at a time, or do you do like my mum used to do? She used to string all her beads, like 50 beads, onto a piece of thread and then sew each one individually like she was knitting. You backstitch 5 beads at a time. Oh, right, okay. So you backstitch in groups. Interesting. I like things that can be glued on. But I am interested to, yeah, because it's faster. But I am interested to try some beading, micro beading with my new beading needles, which I've put away somewhere and they've gone walkabout. So where did I put them? And then I've just tidied all that up and immediately dropped it. Did I put them in here? No. Okay, so I've lost my needles already. Excellent. Perfect. Did I put them in here? I'm going to do a project album for your tarot bags. I like that idea. Right, because you're an advanced stitcher, aren't you? So that's a challenge, but not horrendously difficult for you. Whereas the rest of us would go, well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to try that. Put that in there as well. Come and do some more of that tomorrow. So there we go. I think that's it for today. Sorry I didn't get to work on my wolf, but at least we've been able to talk about some astrology and do some stitching and have a chat. I quite like our Saturday chats, actually. It's nice and relaxing because Thursday, I've set aside, Thursday is definitely learning day. Thursday is all about learning stuff. We always do a project or a learny thing on Thursdays. And Tuesdays is your study guide day. So it's nice to have chats on Saturdays and just relax and do what we need to do and catch up and whatever. You like hearing about my grandmother? She was a piece of work. She wasn't actually that nice. She was a horrible person. Yeah, she was not a very nice person, but you know, she's been dead 24 years. So nostalgia gets the better of you sometimes and you remember the good stuff after a while. But she certainly wasn't very nice to me. It's the way it should be. Yeah. Well, the thing is, I didn't know my grandfather, and my other gran and granddad, I knew them, but they weren't really grandparents to us. They were always more interested in the boys than us. So, you know, it was nice, but they were, I don't know, it's like grandparents are supposed to be special, aren't they, in some way? Everybody I've ever met, somehow their grandparents are really special to them, and mine were just like, you know, my grandmother was a piece of work, and my little gran was fun. My granddad, I thought the world of my granddad, but he wasn't interested in the girls. Just wasn't interested in us. He had no time for his girls. He was of the impression that, you know, what is it that Amy says in Little Women? It's as much in use to educate a woman as educate a female cat. Yeah, that's pretty much what his attitude was. He was extremely Victorian, and he had the Victorian attitude to go with it. And, you know, women had outstepped their welcome as far as he was concerned. But, you know, 25 years later, they're all dead. Who cares? You know, remember the good bits and just pretend the rest of it didn't happen. You built an oscilloscope. And then you got on great. Yeah. See, my granddad was a mechanic. He was a mechanical engineer. My dad's an electrical engineer. So, you know, on a Sunday, we all used to go over there for lunch after church. You know, my sister and my mum and my gran would all be sat indoors gossiping about whatever. And I'd be outside with my granddad and my dad, you know, tinkering around in granddad's garage in whatever he was doing. But he used to teach my dad a lot, and then my dad would show me, but my granddad was never interested in showing me, even though I was the one who was always hanging around going, show me how to do that, granddad. I'm interested. I want to do that. He was of the opinion that girls couldn't understand engineering. It was a man's job. So, which is a shame, because I could have learnt so much from him, and I did just from watching him. But, you know, he used to tell my dad, and then my dad would teach me later, because my dad always knew that I was interested. But, yeah, such is the way. Right, go away. I'm going to go and finish my Filofax. Papa Gnome, yeah. Papa Gnome and Pawpaw Gnome. We are a family of tinkerers, we are. I will see you all on, next week we're doing Uranus. We want to do, I haven't had anything else other than cartoon storyboards of the myth. So unless somebody picks something else, that's what we're doing, which is a bit weird. And I'm not sure I can do it, but you know, why not? We're doing Uranus on Saturday, on Tuesday. So you'll be doing the Uranus myth and all that kind of stuff and links to astrology and things. If you're not into the myths and legends, you can do Aquarius and the astrology part and stuff. If you're not into any of it, you can do the science behind the actual planet. Nobody really cares what you do. Actually, I quite fancy doing the science of the planet because I've never really done it, even though I'm Aquarian and it's my ruling planet and I love sciencey stuff because I'm a nerd. So that might be the first page that goes in my Victorian Filofax, because it's going to be my commonplace book. So maybe a little bit of sciencey research on Uranus will be what goes in there first, along with a new list of tarot decks that I now need to buy. Okay, thanks for joining me, and I will see you all next week. Bye.